Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have Irene from Carnival. She is going to be presenting some awesome stuff for you guys to learn today that you probably don't know about, or you probably do and just need more clarification. So, Irene, go ahead and take it over. And the call is recorded. Everyone is muted until the end for the questions and answers portion of the webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. Hi, everybody. Even to those if you're on the East Coast, I know it's late, so we'll go quick and steady. And to learn and get a better understanding about groups, how to book them and service. So we're understanding the benefits of how to book and manage groups, as groups are guaranteed to grow your business. So why book groups? There's a couple bullet points here. The most important ones are in red. Groups are always very profitable, and they're never last minute. The group perks enable you to sell over the competition discounts, offer flexible payment schedules, as well as group fun point amenities. They also add value. And instead of booking just one cabin, you have the opportunity to sell multiple cabins with the same effort while increasing your commission level faster. So that's always important. And then the other bullet points, so you can grow your customer base. You can sell ancillary products, hotels, excursions, insurance is most important in that. Participants within your group then often see the opportunity to book their own group for their family, friends, affinity, or organization. So that's future business potentially in your pocket once they see how well the one that they're participating in goes. And at least at Carnival, 30% of our guests are sailing as a part of a group. So you wouldn't want to miss out on that 1/3 of the business. Continuing, we are the largest, most recognizable brand in the cruise industry. We currently have 26 fun ships ranging from 2 to 16-day sailings, 20 departure ports, 15 of which are in the U.S. And hopefully, as most of you know, we have 27, the Carnival Panorama, underway, being built in the shipyard over in Italy. And she will get into the Long Beach Harbor next December and start cruising from Los Angeles to Long Beach Cruise Terminal on December 11th. She'll do a quick 3-day, and then she'll take over for the Carnival Splendor, doing a 7-day Mexican Riviera. Number 27 is soon coming up. For 50% of the U.S. population, Carnival is within a 5-hour drive time. And for families, that's a big deal. When you're looking at flights and travel expenses, just aside from the cruise, those add up pretty quickly. So to know that we're 5 hours drive time for 50% of the country, that's a pretty important value. We also offer a wide variety of fun onboard choices, a relaxed atmosphere, exciting destinations, at an outstanding value and affordable prices. Our product is perfect for first-time cruisers. With groups, you can do fun points and flexi pricing, and they're the best and most flexible in the industry. We also offer the Great Vacation Guarantee, the complimentary guarantee that your clients are going to have a great time. We're the only ones in the industry that offer that. And then we also have the ability to use GoCCL and use those marketing tools to create customizable flyers, as well as e-brochures and web banners for your social media outlets to advertise for your group. They have serious value. As you can see on a Carnival cruise, everything is included, from onboard meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, to complimentary room service, down to the state-of-the-art fitness and spa. Whereas a hotel, resort, and stay, not all of these are included all the time. So with a cruise vacation, you have everything at your fingertips. You only pay for it once. There are 3 basic group types with Carnival. There are open promotion groups, corporate meeting and incentive groups, and then affinity groups. Our affinity groups are the most successful, and they're comprised of a group of people with a common interest. Some examples of these are clubs, churches, hobbies, family or alumni reunions, social organizations, schools. The list goes on and on. But the most common group types that we have are definitely the affinity. Okay, here's a list of top 10 groups to possibly take advantage of if you know any senior citizens in your area, religious groups, lifestyle and hobbyists. Weddings are quite popular, as well as reunions, corporate meetings and incentives, as well as seminars at sea. So for the group basics with Carnival, 8 cabins or more is a group. You can book the group online with GoCCL, or you can call into the groups department at that number 800-327-5782 and work with a group representative to get rates and block space. You can also book several category types. Our categories for groups, for interior, ocean view, and balconies, they start at a category B. For suites and 1A, ocean view, interiors, and balconies, in the A category, they are not able to be blocked as a part of the group. You can birth them into the group, but these cabin types require full deposits at the time you're booking these categories, as well as names. When you're first creating the group itself, it's better to block more cabins than you need. Cabins after the group booking is made are always going to be at the prevailing rate. For most ships and sail dates, a first deposit of $25 per person is due 60 days after the booking. Depending on when you make your booking, it will be listed in the contract for your group what the dates for payments are. Group space at the beginning is blocked at a TBA basis or a guarantee, so you're blocking the category types and the number of category types that you would need to do the first deposit. Then, when a full deposit, or otherwise known as a second deposit, is made for a client, you can then assign a cabin to them, put names on the booking, assign their dining, and then that cabin is considered sold for the group once you've put the full deposit and names on the booking. In regards to tour conductor credits for a group, the complimentary policy is 1 free berth or tour conductor for every 15 full fare guests. A full fare guest is the first and second guest in the stateroom. So it's 1 for 15, so really every 16th guest gets that cruise fare free. Some of you might be wondering, well, what about the 3rd through the 5th? As those guests are already discounted for their cruise fare, they do not count towards the tour conductor. So to determine the tour conductor credit, Carnival provides 1 free cruise fare for every 15 full fare guests. Again, tour conductor. First and second guests in the stateroom are considered full fare. You divide the total number of first and second guests by 16 to figure out the free berth earned, because it's every 16th guest, because you have to have 15 full fare to get that TC. So only the cruise fare portion is given as the tour conductor credit. So here's an example. Cruise fare, $300 per person. Non-commissionable is $159. Taxes and fees is $189.42. The TC is an average of all categories booked, and there's no limit to tour conductor credits earned. So group basics, continuing, as mentioned, categories starting at 4B or an interior, 6B for an ocean view, and 8B for balconies are all available for group blocks. Categories 1A, which are upper lowers or bunk beds, 4As, 6As, and 8As can be added to your group with full deposits and names. Triples, quads, and quins cannot be held as a part of the group block. However, they can be added with full deposits and names. Suites and other categories can only be added with full deposits and names into your group. Okay. Group basics continuing. Combinations are permitted with a group, so guests with fly to Fun Air, others cruise only, and some with insurance and some without, etc. So these are all able to be worked into the group. Group rates are typically protected from the first cabin as long as you're actively promoting your group. You want to closely monitor deposit and payment guidelines. They're always listed in the contract. You want to promote continuously, plan and expect to promote repeatedly in various forms to reach potential clients. Surveys show it takes 3 to 11 contacts for clients to book. Group amenities are protected from a minimum of 5 cabins or more. And then with fun points and flexi pricing, these are also offered within the group booking and allow for customization. So to figure out fun points, they are valued at $1 per person per day. So the value for each point on a 7-day cruise is $7. The value for each point on a 5-day cruise is $5. Then you would multiply the number of fun points offered with the group by the value of each point. So if you look at this example, a 7-day cruise has 4 fun points. So 4 fun points times 7 is $28. $28 is the value for the fun points for the 7-day, and the fun points apply only to the first and second guest. So here, when you're shopping for items within your fun point, you can choose these. For this specific example, with 4 fun points on a 7-day cruise, I chose Carnival robes at 3 points and a $25 per stateroom onboard credit. So that's 1 point. You can mix and match as you like, as long as you make sure that you don't go past your allotted fun points. You do need to make sure that you have the minimum staterooms required for the amenity. That's always the first column on the left. And then based on the item, you would scroll over to the voyage duration, and that's the number of points that are needed for that specific item. It seems pretty easy to look at. You can also sell the fun points. By selling the fun points, you lower the price of the cruise fare for the first and second guest. So the formula would be the value of the fun points times the number of the fun points equals the value, just like we did before. Then you would subtract the value of the fun points from the cruise price for the first and second guest. So here's the example here. Cruise fare for the first and second guest is $6.99 minus $28 because it's a 7-day cruise times 4 fun points. Brings it down to $6.71 per person. Some of you may have clients that might be an interest of them to not have any amenity points and to bring the cruise fare down as low as they can. But keep in mind, for your own pocket, commission is paid on the lowered cruise fare. Okay. You can also buy more. So you have the option of buying and selling, and it works the same way, except you're increasing. So you want 8 fun points. Then it would be 8 fun points times 7, the $56 value, which would bring you to actually 12 fun points. So it would be $6.99 plus 56 is $7.55 per person, but you have 12 fun points to work with to go shopping. And the commission for you is paid on the higher cruise fare, which is great news. So with 12 fun points, look what you're able to get for a 7-day vacation. 5 were used for a $100 onboard credit. 3 of them were used for bathrobes. 1 was used for tote bags. And the 1 was used for a bottle of wine. And then you kept 2 for yourself to give you that $25 per cabin bonus commission. So that's a lot of use of those 12. So I think your clients should be very happy with what you're able to offer them just by increasing the price a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to make a group booking, put some of what I've been rattling on about to use. So I'm just going to hop over to GoCCL. And now that I'm already logged in, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Booking, and then under Create Booking, you're going to go to Group Booking. Okay, it brings you to the main search screen. You have to fill in these asterisks. Those are required if you're not familiar with GoCCL. So your search range, maximum range is 90 days. I'm going to go out as far as I can. So I'm going to hit May of 2020. And I'm going to let it just auto-click because that's far enough for the example. And then I'm going to choose affinity group. If you have clients that are interested in holiday sailing, Christmas, New Year's, when you're doing the initial search for groups, you must, once you have your date range narrowed down from December to January or wherever you're looking for, you must select holiday sailing. If you don't select holiday sailings, those Christmas and New Year sailings will not generate, and you're going to think that there's no group space when there very well could be, but you just have to have the holiday sailing selected. But back to our example, I'm going to choose the affinity group, and then the date ranges for here. It brings me to the panorama, 6 to 9 days, and then I'm going to click search. Okay, it brings me to a choice of sailing between May 2nd to May 30th. The lowest average lead rate is 614, and it goes all the way up to 764. So we can't travel over May 2nd, but May 9th works for my clients, so I'm just going to hit select. And then it brings me to my main group booking screen. You need to create a title for it. And then see how it brings up the fun points. So you have 4 for the sailing. To buy and sell, you would click modify. Now, before I click modify, get an eye of the average lead rates per person for each of the categories. And I'm just going to look at the 8E for 914. And I'm going to sell all of the fun points. You hit calculate, and upon hitting calculate, GoCCL auto configures what you're doing the changes for, and it changes the price. So it drops down to $886. But you have no fun points available for your group. If you want to put it back, if you want to do 10, you just choose the amount you need, hit calculate, and then it does the same thing. It increases the price to give you those 10 points. I'm just going to put it back to 4 because 4 is a good number for those. You can get lots for 4 points. So now the pricing comes back to $914 for that 8B balcony, or the 4B interior is $614. It's going to tell you the total max request allowed for the sailing is 32 cabins. So the max I can request total is the 32. Per category, it's going to say the number. So I can request up to 12 8Es, 4 4Hs. And as you enter in these quantities, it calculates how many you have left to go. See how it's changing? And then 8. Okay, so now I'm at 0. So once you do this, you'll be able to then click save and continue. And you're on the way to creating a group booking. It's as easy as that. Be sure to review cruise rates, non-commissionable, commission for Pro Travel would reflect here. Once you're logged in under your GoCCL login, you hit yes, you've read and agreed the terms, and then you would hit confirm booking. Okay, now it brings you to your main group screen, gives you your group booking number here, amenity points, how many cabins you have held, all the details of it. To get the group contract, you need to go up to print confirmation, and it's going to generate the contract. Read this carefully and be sure that once you get to the page of where the payment dates are listed, note those down and live by them. So it talks about here, no amenities have been selected. You need to choose your amenities by February 24th of 2020. If you do not assign your amenity points by then, you lose them and they will not be returned. So between now and February 24th, you have plenty of time. I would almost even assign them right away so that way you can start advertising with them for your group. It goes over your cabin requests and all of the expenses based on your cabin quantities that you have held. Remember, it's based on double occupancy. Okay? So here, payment guidelines. This is the most important grid, I think, of the whole contract. So from when you created your group, today, September 6th, you have until November 5th of 2018 to do your initial $25 per person deposit, which is your first deposit. And it's a total of $1,600 to confirm and hold your allotment for your group, 32 cabins or 64 guests. 64 times 25 is 1,600. Then by December 11th of 2019 is when your full deposits would be due, names and cabins. You would have to release cabins as you don't need them as you're selling the group, because any monies that are not enough to hold the group by the first deposit, the group will automatically cancel. And depending on when it gets canceled and when you notice, rates and availability can change. So be sure to keep on top of your dates and even give yourself an extra couple weeks ahead of time to make sure that you get the payments you need from your client for first and second and even full payment. But this is the most important grid of the contract, is know when your payment dates are. Everything else goes into penalties. So penalties would start February 25th of 2020 and work your way towards that May sale date. State codes. And then once you start creating your group, you can look at it specifically for your specific group, and the numbers would relate to whatever you have held. Okay? So print confirmation is where you get the group contract. Everything else, modified booking, reports, birth guests, you can do all of that through the bottom drop down. But we have our group created, and hopefully it's not as hard as you may have thought it was. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint. So now that we've made the group booking and we reviewed the deposit and cancellation guidelines, again, place those reminders for when they're due on your calendar. To ensure success before, during, and after, we'll review some suggestions and tips to help you be as successful as possible. Okay. Starting with the payments, as mentioned, initial deposits are only $25 per person within 60 days of making the booking. Again, for suites, triples, and quads, full deposits are due at the first option date. The second deposit or full deposit is due roughly 120 or 150 days prior to the cruise, depending on the itinerary. Obviously, we search for May of 2020, so we even have more of a window for when the full deposit would be due. And then final payment is due roughly 60 to 75 days prior to the cruise. Okay, here are the full deposit guidelines. $25 is the courtesy hold or first deposit. And then depending on the day range of the cruise vacation, the deposits are here. So 2 to 3 days is $100. 4-day cruise is $150, as well as a 5-day. Then you get up to 6 through 9 day cruises are $250. Alaska, Hawaii, Europe, Panama Canal, transatlantic are $400 per person. Full per person deposit and names are required to berth a cabin for group staterooms. And once you do the full per person deposit and name, then you can assign the dining time. So the guests really start to get a taste of their cruise vacation once they put down the full deposit. And it might be even in your benefit to ask for the full deposit right away. That way you've secured that business. So there are 2 levels for group. The group level, this is a courtesy and general hold of the room categories you're requesting. It's not the cabin number. So what we did just a few minutes ago when we made the group booking, we made the hold for the room categories at the group level. Then at the cabin level, these are the actual cabin numbers that you can book into when you have the full deposit and the full name. It is a secure booking until final payment once you have the full deposit and name. Even if the entire group cancels that hadn't been birthed yet. Cabins booked with less than full deposit will automatically cancel at the full deposit due date if they've been unused. So the group payment policy, your group payments, the confirmation includes the due date for all payments. We looked at that in the contract. Initial, full, and final payments. The full required amount is due on each date, or as mentioned, your group booking is subject to auto cancellation. It's done by a computer, so make sure that you have your monies in ahead of time prior to your due date, just to be safe. We've talked about this already. Initial deposit of $25 per person must be paid by the first option date for all the space you're holding per your confirmation. If you're holding those 32 cabins at $25 per person, you need to make sure that you have that $1,600 at group level to secure your group without it canceling. Second deposit is a full deposit, and that must be paid by the second payment or deposit date, or the cabins lacking the full deposit will automatically cancel. Cabins birthed within your group, they must have full deposits for everyone in the cabin. Cabins birthed with less than full deposit per person will be automatically canceled if a full deposit is not received by the due date. And canceled bookings are subject to new rates and availability if rebooked. So payment tips to ensure success. Be sure to have all deposit, payment, and cancellation dates in your calendar to avoid cancellation. I cannot stress that enough. Accelerate the due date by a week to 10 days for your clients just to make sure you have that extra cushion. Ask for the full deposit rather than the $25 or $100. It's a more firm commitment. Consider having the group leader or group make the initial deposit while the group is being promoted. So what that means is if you are comfortable enough to ask for that full first deposit from the group leader to hold the space, that also might give you a little bit extra wiggle room instead of chasing each client for their $25 commitment. Deposits are fully refundable prior to final payment unless fair rules are non-refundable. So when you're birthing a client and you're ready to do that full deposit with names, you need to be sure that you understand the rate code that you choose and read its restrictions so that way you're able to get that refund if the guest were, heaven forbid, to cancel. Try to avoid final payments due in December and January. Obviously, that's right after the holidays. And include the price of additional items in the group rate initially, such as transportation, t-shirts, bags, hats, or other items you want to give to the group participants. You can obtain an overcharge letter from groups that allows you to overcharge them up to a certain dollar amount to collect payment for these costs, but you must obtain the overcharge letter and complete it and return it for you to be able to do this. Okay. Other payment tips, again, buy additional fun points before the group promotion. So whatever you determine for your fun points, it's better to decide on them prior to advertising so that way you can put them into promotional materials. Include that book early, book now to secure the lowest rate to those marketing materials. Also include prices guaranteed only to protect yourself for late bookers. Triples and quads and quint cabins, again, can be booked into the group but must have the full per person deposit. Book early for these because they do sell fast, especially during the summertime. And promote in many avenues as possible. Use Facebook, social media, advertising, flyers, websites you may have, functions you're members of, and events. Go CCL and our marketing tools have tons of different things you can customize and download. Okay. In the event that you might miss a deposit and auto cancel, you would need to call into group sailing support by dialing the main office line in extension 730 to see if they can work with you to reinstate the space. Otherwise, space must be booked at prevailing rate. Our system is automated, therefore cancellation dates are solid. The automation is set to cancel at midnight the night prior at 12 a.m. of the cancellation date. And that's even earlier for us if you're on the West Coast, because this time is Eastern. Be sure to make the payment dates prior to the cancellation set date. Read the group confirmation. Please take the time to read all the fine print under each section within the confirmation at the time you book. It's beneficial that you understand all the policies and procedures to ensure your success. If you don't understand something, you can always call the groups department for guidance. Okay. If you have certain categories held within your group allotment, but you have a client that's interested in another category, you can book that into your group, but it will be at the current and prevailing rate. To get some excitement going, you would want to host a group party or cruise night to encourage more to sign up and create excitement, or closer to the group for Q&A and documents. Plan a time on board to announce next year's cruise, and hold a after party with pictures and stories, and figure out what you want to do next. If the cabin is booked as a regular FIT or an individual booking, the booking cannot be moved over into the group, nor will it count towards TCs or receive fund amenity points. So if you're berthing cabins into the group, you want to make sure that you're berthing them into the group and not separately. My suggestion is, until you're really comfortable with this, call the groups department and have them help you book it into the group. Again, also choose your amenity points immediately at the time of booking, and if needed, you can always change them before final payment. This ensures you keep the amenities for the group. Based on your requirements and ideas for your type of group, they may want meeting space. The group event planning department schedules all of these events. They are the be-all, end-all for scheduling. You can send an email once you have an idea of what you want to do, your wish list, at eventplanning@carnival.com, or you can call into the main office line and dial 7006 at the time of first deposit, but no later than final payment. With your requirements, always be sure to include the booking number, ship, sail date, your equipment needs, food and beverage requests, and these requests will be considered only after fully deposited. You can also email event planning to get an idea of how busy a ship is. We do schedule group functions around the ship's activity, so keep that in mind. Have an open mind when you're requesting for times. Dinner time is hard, early evening is hard, and late night, because in the evenings from probably 4 o'clock on, all of the lounges are used for guest activities. Everyone's back on board and they're ready to have fun at night. So based on your wish list and your timing, keep an open mind that the group event planning department may come back with alternate times for you to review based on when we're able to accommodate your group. It also might be a good idea when you're looking at this to create a client booking form. Work with your group leader to create this worksheet and obtain all the information about each client initially and have them sign it for accuracy to reduce booking errors. Legal names, dates of birth, passport numbers, whether they're traveling on a birth certificate, etc. Also, promotional rates can be booked into groups. These promotional rates are specials that are offered through individual reservations. They may at times be a better rate than our group rates. These include Fund Select resident rate, past guest, senior, military, and early saver. Interline rates, which is your travel agent rates, or if you have somebody that works for an airline or someone in the transportation industry, unfortunately, these are not combinable with groups. But these promotional rates above, for the exception of interline, can be added to your group. Full name and deposits are required at booking and do count towards your TC credit. They must be booked into the group. cannot book individual booking and then transfer. Follows the same rules of an FIT booking and must qualify for the promotional rate. So if it's a senior rate, the guest must be 55 or older. Or military rates, they must provide their DD-214 or honorable or active duty credentials. Okay. In search of groups, if you're not sure where to start, here's an example of some ideas, as well as some group ideas to get you started. Colleges, community centers, credit unions, associations, banks, bowling leagues. There's tons of things at your fingertips, just starting with who your close friends are. So as we talked a little bit about birthing into a group and those promotional rates, I'm going to go back to GoCCL and show you how to do that. So from your group contract, you could go down to birth guest, and it's going to bring up your group booking number, your ship and your sail date, and it's going to ask you for your number of travelers, or just for the sake of ease, do 2. Select all the guests that would apply to the stateroom. So again, interline does not apply, but you have a military and a senior. If you know the VIFP, very important fund person, number for your clients, you can enter it here or you can look it up. First, last name, and date of birth, and it'll auto-generate it once it finds it. So then you'll hit search. Okay, here it brings you to all of the different rate codes. So your first rate code is your group rate. So it's the group rate is $644 based on the lead category for the 4F. Keep in mind that as you go down, you might find better promotion for your clients at a lower rate. So here, just for the sake of it, fall into savings. Anything that's underlined, you can click on, and it's going to bring up an additional window of information. So this promotion, fall into savings, it gives you all of the restrictions here. Refundable deposit, subject to cancellation penalties. You want to see, okay, offer bookings made as a part of a group will include amenities. So you want to make sure that you read this rate terms to make sure that even though you're looking for the cheaper rate, it's still going to include those amenities that you have in the group. But here is our lowest rate code, the military rate. No upgrades apply, but it does support amenities. So also here in this big window, it says whether it is. So we're going to click on that one and just hit select. And even though it's going to automatically start at the 1A category. So then you can look for the exact category type that you're looking for. Again, since you're berthing a cabin, you're ready for full deposit. But this cabin would not count towards your group allotment. If you're adding it to the group, but your group allotment is still going to be the same. So if you're adding this cabin, you would need to make sure that you release one from your group allotment. So we'll just do the 4S, 474. You can click on Quick Quote. It'll generate for you pretty quickly the cruise rate per person, miscellaneous charges. It gives you the total gross amount is $1,707 per person is $747. You can change it to agent view, and then it gives you a further breakdown of commission per person. Then you can also change to guest view and email it. Okay, save and continue. Okay, and then from there, you'd be able to start picking your stateroom. So it'll give you some upgrade options, and then you'd pick your cabin. But the important thing I wanted to show you was the different rate codes that you can select based on when you're ready to birth, because sometimes your group rate is not going to be the lowest rate. You'd want to be sure to shop all the rate codes available at the time you're ready to birth. Okay? So that was a lot in 43 minutes, but hopefully that gave you a little bit better of an understanding on how things work. I do have a couple PDFs for you that talk about payments and guidelines that we just reviewed to send over to Maggie so that way she can email you those out. But Maggie, I'm ready to hand it over back to you.
Hi, Irene. Okay, so that's great. Great. I really loved everything. There's a lot of things that I didn't know about, but now I do, and I'm pretty sure all of our agents feel the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody to ask the questions that they have. I do see that there is some under the questions box, so I'll go ahead and just start unmuting. All right, everyone, you are unmuted. If you have any questions for Irene in regards to her presentation, go ahead and ask now. Anybody have any questions for Irene today?
Irene, I have a question. I have a customer whose family is going on a group cruise. Am I able to book my customer and put them into the group?
You can birth them into the group, yes.
But I'm not the agent for the group.
Oh, well then no, they would need to go through the agent that's handling the group booking. If you book them, you wouldn't be able to book them into the group. It would only be an individual reservation that would get them on board, but they wouldn't be able to participate in any of the group functions that they may or may not have scheduled or receive any of the amenities.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yes or no? Yes. You ate your other one?
Anything else, guys? I know it's almost 9 o'clock for some of you if you're on the West Coast, East Coast. Otherwise, I think, Maggie, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much,
for,
everybody joining.
time.
Thank you so much, Irene, for taking the time of doing this webinar for us. It was recorded, so that's great. And I will be sending you a follow-up email for more future webinars. And then you send me those PDFs, and I'll make sure that the agents that were on the webinar tonight get that. Once again, have a great weekend, and thank you so much for taking the time for doing this for Pro Travel Network and our new agents.
Yeah, you guys too. So I'll send those over to you now, Maggie.
Thank you.
Okay? Have fun, guys. Have a good weekend. We made it to Friday.